Banking internationally can literally save your life. Hello there, my name is Javier Correa and I'm the legal director here at the Rothbard Group and the spokesperson here at the Rothbard Group. So today I'm in beautiful Buenos Aires, Argentina, back with you to discuss why global banking is so important, why it's crucial, and why it can mean the difference between survival and defeat. It is not a coincidence that I'm here in Argentina. In the early 2000s, Argentina went through an episode that is now known as El Corralito in Spanish.
Quien tiene dinero en los bancos, hasta 250 pesos puede retirar en efectivo cada semana, es decir, en billetes y monedas. Usted se preguntará, ¿por qué me ponen esta limitación?
It was an episode in the early 2000s when the government simply said, you cannot withdraw your money. You could only withdraw a certain amount of money per day. More than that, you can't. Argentina has also gone through capital controls throughout the recent years, meaning that it has been challenging, to say the least, for Argentinians to move their money out of the country or to access investments in foreign countries. It is in cases like the one of Argentina that you truly see how global banking, more than a convenience, more than a luxury object, is a necessity in today's world. Now, I come from Venezuela, as I've shared with you before, and Venezuela not only went through a similar situation, but an even more aggressive situation. I grew up in the middle of some of the tightest and strictest capital controls in recent history in Latin America. This is why I share this common PTSD, if you will, regarding banking with the Argentinian people. Now, in Venezuela, it was even worse. The government would tell us how much money we could use abroad, how we could spend our money abroad, and how much of our money we could spend on any given thing. Imagine the lack of power. Imagine the sensation of anxiety, just having money sitting there in the bank and not being able to use it. And on top of that, in both the situations of Argentina and Venezuela, we have gone through hyperinflationary cycles, meaning that not only is your money stuck in the banks, but your money is losing value not by the year, not by the month, but in the case of Venezuela and Argentina at any given time, by the minute. Now, situations have, somewhat improved, at least here in Argentina. You've got Javier Milei now. He's looking to maybe introduce some more libertarian, free market leaning policies. We'll see if they actually take effect. He has been able to do certain things. He doesn't have the full support of Congress. We'll see how that evolves. But just because there's one libertarian president in office now does not erase a history of decades and decades of state interventionism, of hyperinflation, of banking controls, foreign exchange controls, and so forth. So the reason why I want to share this story with you, both my background in Venezuela and what happened here in Argentina, is because I do believe it is one of the fundamental reasons why everyone, regardless of your country of origin, should be considering international banking. Now, from an objective perspective, international banking offers a series of advantages. Number one, currency diversification. In many cases, your home country's banks will not allow you to hold different currencies or will not allow you to hold them easily. It's the case of the US, for example. It's not that easy to hold foreign currencies in US banks. Some of them allow it under very specific circumstances, but it's not the norm. In Canada, you might be able to find, sure, US dollar denominated accounts, but that's about it. You can't easily find other currencies available at the major Canadian banks for everyday checking accounts. So currency diversification, definitely point number one, is an advantage. Point number two, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to access credit more easily, well, guess what? There are certain jurisdictions that just make it easier to access credit, whether it be a credit card, a rotating line of credit for your business, a traditional loan, hey, maybe even a cross-border mortgage. There are certain jurisdictions that have certain banks that just cater to these kinds of services and these kinds of clients that require these services more easily than in your home country. Number three, better capitalized and safer banks. Maybe in your home country, you're happy enough with the service, but maybe the banks back home are not as well capitalized as you'd like them to be. Well, if you open yourself up to international cross-border multi-jurisdictional banking, guess what? You get to an extent, pick and choose the jurisdictions that have the best capitalized banks and keep your money safer. Number four, better service. If the banks back home just are not providing the level of service that you are accustomed to or that you wish you had, then again, you can find better levels of service elsewhere, and that is definitely doable if you go for international banking. Number five, accessing more investments. So obviously, if you are in your home market, your banks, your brokerage firms are going to be proposing investments that are very orientated towards your national domestic market. I see this a lot, particularly in the United States, because the domestic market is so huge. My perception has been that domestic U.S. banks tend to be very heavily focused on the U.S. capital markets, U.S. investment opportunities, but other than maybe some generic ETFs, American financial institutions are not too keen on offering investment opportunities in places like Asia or Europe or Latin America. So that would be obviously another major advantage you have when it comes to international banking. Number 6, there is asset protection that comes with banking internationally. Now, you're gonna say, well, Javier, if I have the bank account in my own name, then ultimately it's something that can still be seized. Yes, that is correct. It is obviously ideal to pair your international banking with some kind of offshore asset protection structure, be it a holding company, a foundation, a trust, I mean, you name it, that would be ideal. However, there is a sensation and there is an additional layer of protection that comes with holding money abroad, even if it's in your own name. And let me explain why. If you hold all of your assets in your own name, in your home country, and you enter into some kind of legal issue, whether it be with the tax authority, with aggressive creditors, or whomever it may be, it is very easy for the courts of your country to go and place a lien on those accounts, or freeze those accounts, or potentially seize those accounts as part of a general asset seizure. However, if your assets are held in a foreign country, then that becomes much more difficult for your domestic courts, for your domestic creditors, which means that even though you are required to obviously fulfill all your obligations, we're not encouraging you to do anything illegal by any means, it does place you in a position where you do have more bargaining chips. It makes it easier for you to negotiate a favorable settlement if your assets are difficult to get to. And one of the ways to achieve that is the global mobility of your capital. There are certain jurisdictions that are just more flexible when it comes to their clients moving money around internationally. And if you're running a global business, or you're a global digital nomad contractor, you're doing business internationally, you have a global lifestyle, you're going to want a banking partner that understands that your credit cards might be used all over the world. You're going to want a banking partner that understands that you're sending money to and from different countries, and not all banks, particularly those that are very local, will understand that. And a final benefit of international banking that I would definitely mention is the fact that tied to this asset protection feature, there's privacy. In a lot of our home countries, we're getting used to this digital era where everything is available, where there's this mass surveillance environment. Well, guess what? If you move your money to an international location, in many cases, you can get additional privacy. It's more difficult for the neighborhood ambulance chaser or that aggressive creditor, that former spouse, that disgruntled employee or business partner to know that you have an account in a foreign country. So that is also a very interesting add-on benefit that you might consider. So for all these reasons, international banking is definitely a very crucial, strategic, and essential part of any international, multi-jurisdictional, cross-border business plan. Now here at the Rothbard Group, we assist both corporate and individual clients in obtaining foreign international accounts as non-residents, both for transactional purposes as well as for wealth management purposes. The major jurisdictions we work with is the United States for non-residents, Switzerland for global investors and entrepreneurs, Panama for global investors and entrepreneurs, increasingly the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, and other Caribbean jurisdictions. Now, if you believe that all of these elements I have outlined are important to you, if you believe that global banking will enhance your freedom of movement personally, for your business, and also for your capital, and if you believe that you require international banking for yourself, for your business, for your family, and to ensure your legacy, then be sure to check out our website, www.rothbardgroup.com. Follow us on YouTube for more information. Drop a comment down below. Freedom through banking, and I'll see you in the next video.